It's finally spooky season. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Theo. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm so excited to do this video. This is probably my favorite video, maybe not my favorite video I've done so far, but I've been wanting to do this video all year long. I love fall. I love Halloween. I love spooky season, and I've been getting more and more into horror movies. I just like the time of year. I like fall. I like the smells. I like the colors. I like the weather outside. I like the temperature. I like the kids dressing up and just the whole vibe of autumn and Halloween in particular. I've been thinking over the last couple months what I'd like to try and fit in for my October spooky season kind of horror TBR, and I think I've nailed it down to a couple choices. By the way, I wanted to say we just hit 800 subscribers on the channel here, and I can't tell you how much that means. That's awesome. I wasn't thinking that would ever happen, so I really appreciate it. And if you're not on the Discord, and maybe you've heard me talk about it, you're not quite sure what that is, there's a link in the description to our Grimoire Discord group. It's a Discord server that I share with a couple other booktubers, and yeah, it's a great community there. We're pushing up to close to 400 members. I think we have like 370, and there's different channels in there. We talk about all types of books. There's people that are veterans in all genres, all series, whatever. Anything that you're into, I'm sure you'll find something there. And it's a great community of people. There's read-alongs happening all the time, lots of discussion. It's become quite the lively bunch. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. There's a link in the description. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple books that I'd like to read, and a couple that I'm for sure going to read. But there's a couple on here that I don't know if I'm going to fit in, and I'll tell you why. As you guys know, over at the Discord, at the Grimoire Discord, Alex and I, Tall Guy Reads, we're kind of co-hosting a Sun Eater series read-along, Christopher Rocchio's Sun Eater series, and we just finished the third book. Most people have finished it. I'm just finishing it up now. And that's the third book, Demon in White. And so the next book, and probably not the first one that I'll read next month because I'm itching to read a horror book, but one that is absolutely set in stone is book number 4 in the Sun Eater series, and that is Kingdoms of Death. This one's actually signed by the author, which is kind of cool, but yeah, we're going to be continuing on our read along with this one in anticipation of Ashes of Man, which comes out in December. So in order for me, I was lucky enough to get an advanced reader copy. I already have that, and in order to fit that in for November in anticipation of it actually releasing in December, I'd like to read it earlier if possible. I need to read Kingdoms of Death next month, and of course we're doing the channel read along, so I don't want to leave people hanging. So that'll be one that's absolutely set in stone. Now, the next one that might throw a wrench in my plans for how many books I can get through in October is one that I'm actually probably most excited to read. So not that long ago, our friend and kind of co-runner of the Grimoire Discord, RJ Gibson over at RJ Reads, he mentioned that he was going to be reading Stephen King's It, and I decided, what the hell, I've never read it, so I'm going to jump on that buddy read with him. I'm super excited. This is one that I've wanted to read forever. I'm almost embarrassed to say I've never read it before, and to be honest with you, I've never even seen the movies. I think I caught part of the old miniseries or old movie, whatever it was. I caught part of that, but of course I never really read it, and so I lost interest because I didn't really care too much at the time, and I probably didn't watch enough to really get hooked. And I think I was quite young, not that young, but I was younger where I wasn't really reading horror. I wasn't super into it like some people were when they were younger. So I'm gonna jump on this one. I'm so excited to read this finally. It is like an 11 or 1200 page book, so you can appreciate that I already have kind of it's not a huge book. This is like probably 550 pages, but it's a decent sized fantasy sci-fi typical book. And then I have obviously It, which is like 1200 pages. So you can appreciate that between those two, that'll take up a chunk of my time next month. I don't have an unlimited amount of time to read. I wish I did, but I don't. I'm an adult, and it's a trap. So basically I'm going to have to fit in around those two books. So I have a list, and I'm probably going to consider this my first ever like MBR, my might be read list. All the other books may or may not get read. There's a couple here that I have higher priority, and a couple here that might scooch to the bottom depending on how much time I have. Now, the next few books I actually don't have physical copies of. I actually have either ebooks or audiobooks of these, so I'll go ahead and put the covers up, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, the first one is one that I've wanted to read for a really long time. I think it's considered a classic, And it's one that I've had pegged for my October kind of spooky season TBR for months now. It's actually free on Audible. If you want to check out the audiobook, it's free on Audible, and that is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. For all these books, I'll go ahead and read a little bit of the blurb so you know what they're about, but I'm sure most people know Frankenstein. But Frankenstein, it's the 1818 novel by English author Mary Shelley, and it tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist who creates a sapient creature in an unorthodox scientific experiment. I hear this is a lot darker and a lot more kind of emotional than what you would typically maybe believe or what you've been led to believe from the movies and that sort of thing from pop culture. This one is apparently quite different. It reads quite different. And there's two. I think the one that I have is the definitive edition. There's a couple editions, and I think one has a different ending, which is slightly divisive. So I don't precisely know which copy I have or which edition I have, but I'm hoping it's the right one, and I'm pretty sure it is. So if it's not, I'll kind of let you guys know what I end up picking and why. I think there's a few of us that might be reading this together. Like I said, hop on the Discord and have a look at what read-alongs are happening, and feel free to join in any of them. But yeah, this one I'm excited, and I might go ahead and watch like a movie or something as well once I'm done reading it. It'd be kind of cool to watch an older movie. So yeah, Frankenstein. The next one that I've wanted to read for a long time now, and I promised people that I would read it sooner than later, is a book by an author that I actually just read, but it was a crazy book that I just read, and it was more divisive and it was a little bit harder to get into. This one by this author is a lot of people's favorite book by this author, and some people's favorite book like ever, and that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. The Road is a 2006 post-apocalyptic novel by Cormac McCarthy, and it details the grueling journey of a father and his young son over a period of several months across a landscape blasted by an unspecific cataclysm that has destroyed industrial civilization and almost all life. This is a super dark, gritty, emotional story. There's a movie with Viggo Mortensen. I'm pretty sure most people would have known about that. If you haven't seen it, you probably know that it exists. But a lot of people don't know that this is a book, and the book is apparently really good, and I've wanted to read it forever. And once Cormac McCarthy's name started popping up in other discussions I've been having, I didn't realize that that's who wrote it. And yeah, I wanted to check it out ever since then. So I've been trying to fit this in for the last couple months. It's actually short, it's dense, it's kind of a psychological and emotional and quite a dark story, but it is short. So I'm trying to fit it in. I'm thinking that one is going to be one that I'll try and prioritize. I think, after I read maybe Rockio's book, and once I maybe, finish It by Stephen King, I'll hop right onto The Road, and it'll be a nice change of pace. It'll be a shorter book, and that will allow me to then maybe figure out how much more reading I can get done in the month of October. The next one I want to read is one that I'm going to be probably reading with a couple friends of mine. I think I can at least fit this one in as well, and that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. You've probably heard a lot about Nick Cutter over the last little while. The Troop has been making its rounds on BookTube and different discussions and stuff. He's written a couple other books, and there's one that came out not that long ago that I can't remember the name of it, but apparently The Troop is probably one of his better books. So I'm excited. It sounds like it's a page turner. It's a thriller. It takes place in, apparently it's like a group of, Boy Scouts that go on this camping trip in the Canadian wilderness. And there's an unexpected sort of guest that stumbles upon them, and it's someone or something. Things take a turn for the worse, and apparently it gets pretty dark and horror, but it apparently the pacing is really good. People are really enjoying it, and people are flying through this book. So I'm excited to check that out. There's a couple people reading it right now. A couple friends of mine are going to read it in October. And yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. So that's The Troop by Nick Cutter. The next one that I want to try to fit in is also quite short. I've actually mentioned this one in a book haul. So this one I actually do own a physical of. If you want to know more about this one, I'm going to link a beautiful review done by my friend Baron over at YourBrainonBooks. But that is Clive Barker's The Thief of Always. Again, I'm not going to go too much into this one. Check out the review that I'll link in the description if you want to know more about it, and if you want to see this beautiful art in its full glory. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's basically a portal fantasy about this kid that goes to this, house, and things kind of get crazy. He thinks life can't be any better, and apparently things get worse. So, it has a lot of themes in it. I won't talk too much about it. I went through it a little bit in my book haul, and again, Baron does quite a good job explaining what this one's about and what you can expect. So go ahead and check out his review. But I'm hoping to fit this one in because it's not huge, and it'd be a nice little change. It's a little more middle grade, think maybe not middle grade, but it can appeal to adults too. Think Coraline or The Nightmare Before Christmas, that sort of vibe. So I'm excited. My wife, when she saw that I bought this, she kind of wanted to try this too. So with any luck, the two of us can read this. Hopefully I can fit it in. I'm not quite sure, but again, it's short, so we'll see. The next one is one that I wanted to read for a long time, for many years actually, and for some reason I never picked it up. I've watched the movie, but I've never read the book, and apparently the book is incredible. I think Alex over at Tall Guy Reads also read this one a couple months ago, not that long ago, and I've kept it for my spooky season TBR. So that is The Exorcist. Now I'm hoping to read this one with a couple people. Most importantly, my wonderful new friend Jen over at Jen the Bookworm. She has a great channel. Go ahead and check her out. She's fairly new to BookTube, so go and welcome her. And she's also on our Discord. We love having her. And she mentioned she wanted to read The Exorcist. So I said, I'm going to try and do that with you. And I hope I have time to. This one is also not a huge book, and apparently it's really good. This one is a 1971 horror novel by American writer William Peter Blatty. And this one basically details the demonic possession of an 11-year-old girl and two priests who attempt to exorcise the demon from within her. So that one sounds pretty cool. Obviously, we all kind of know the story of The Exorcist, and we know that iconic scene in the movie. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it if you want to be freaked out. But yeah, I watched the movie years ago. It was good, probably many years ago. It was really good. Never read the book. I think now's the time. Hopefully I have time to read it. And Jen, I would love to try and read this one with you and chat about it. So that one is The Exorcist. Now, if I have a little bit more time, what I'd like to do, and I've talked about this one in a book haul as well, is I'd like to try to fit in some of these novellas from the Voidwalker collection from Derek Bailey. Derek Bailey is a self-published author who was nice enough to send me a copy of these, and there's 8 novellas in here, part of the Voidwalker collection. All of it's in here. And it just looks, check out the cover. I mean, it's pretty sweet. Definitely gives off kind of horror, manor, mystery, sort of serial killer vibes. And so almost like Agatha Christie vibes. I get Agatha Christie vibes from this. Now, I don't know much about it. I know that the beginning of it takes place in kind of a manor, and a bunch of people attend this party, and then shit starts going whack. And that's kind of why I get Agatha Christie vibes, because of the book And Then There Were None, which is an excellent book. If you're looking for kind of a murder mystery, that's the most iconic one that I can think of, I think. But yeah, this one looks really cool, and they're short. And so if I have time, Derek, I will try to fit these in, I promise. And if I can't, I'll try to fit them in as we go over the next few months through fall, and then even into winter. Just before Christmas, I'm still going to try to fit in some spookier books. I'd like to prolong the spooky season a little bit and read some horror, because it's a genre that I want to read more in and expand a little bit. I have some new friends that are very well versed in the horror genre that can sort of steer me to some excellent picks. So Derek, please know if I can't fit these in the next month in spooky season, I'm going to try and chip away at this over the next couple months, because I've been really curious, and I've heard pretty good things. That's about it, guys. I just wanted to give you a kind of an update on my spooky season, October Halloween TBR, let you know what I'm going to try to fit in for the horror genre. I have a week off in October as well, so I hope that gives me a little bit more time to run through some of these. I know that even though it's probably top priority, to be honest, it's going to take an awful long time. So we'll see. Wish me luck. I'm also curious what you guys have on the go, if you guys are reading any of these, or what your horror spooky season TBR looks like. If you're not reading horror, what else are you guys reading this month? So yeah, I'm excited for Halloween. We're going to dress up probably. We're going to go to a couple parties or have people over. I'm not exactly sure. And if you've watched this long, I'm going to reward you with a picture of Gordon, our cat, dressed up as Flounder from The Little Mermaid. I'm going to be Sebastian the Crab, and it's going to be ridiculous because I'm 6'3", like 250 pounds, and I'm going to be dressed as a crab. And my wife obviously is going to be Ariel. So that's going to be pretty cool. We're going to look ridiculous together, and maybe I'll share some pictures when we have them. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good October reading month. I hope you enjoy Halloween, be it by yourselves or with your kids or whatever. I appreciate all the support, patrons, subscribers, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. And that's it. I will catch you guys on the next one.